and updated. It helps store. Thank you. So a database is an organized collection of data that can be easily accessed, managed, and updated. It helps store information for quick retrieval and manipulation using software. So a database is an organized collection of data. It is more or less like a house that you put data. If you remember when we were growing up, when the computer was not that common, you remember that all files are stored in a particular warehouse. So whether we need a kind of information or we don't need that information, we just put data inside the warehouse in form of a file, and those files are put in a warehouse. So see that warehouse as the database now. The only difference is that the database warehouse that we are now talking about is electronic, all right, compared to the warehouse of the olden days that is actually physical. But this time around, it is electronic. So a kind of electronic warehouse where data are put in an organized way. All right. And so we can easily retrieve any data, just like in a physical warehouse. If you need one file now, all you need to do is just go to that particular warehouse and retrieve whatever file that you need. So we use software to retrieve file from this our warehouse, which is our database. And the example of that software is SQL. All right. So that's that about database. So now, what is relational database? From that word, relationship. So relational database is a kind of database that stores data in tables, rows and columns. When we are talking of tables, we are talking of rows and columns with defined relationship between them. So relational database stores data in forms of rows and columns, in tables in forms of rows and columns. And now what retrieve data from for querying and managing data and retrieving data from relational database? And that is the structured query language, SQL. So that's the language we use for querying and managing that data from a relational database. Now, what are the examples of all this structured query language? We have MySQL, we have PostgreSQL, and we have Oracle. Those are examples of language for querying data and for retrieving data from relational database. We said database is a warehouse, electronic warehouse. Now, what are the key features of relational database? One, structured data. Two, data integrity via relationships. It is relational. There is a kind of relationship between the rows and column. So there is a kind of data integrity because whatever happens in a particular column will affect a particular row. Whatever happens in a particular row will affect a particular column. So it makes the data to have a kind of integrity. Three, ideal for complex queries. So when we are talking of very, very complex queries, we make use of relational database. And why do we really need database? All right. One of the reasons why we need database is when you have large data, you cannot be making use of what are they calling it again? Google spreadsheets. You need something more than Google spreadsheets to be able to deal with large data. For example, when you are talking of the population of the whole world, let's say we are talking of how to solve a particular problem of the world. For example, the problem of famine. We are going to need a large data set for that. And that large data set can only be gotten from database. So organization like World Health Organization, organization like UNESCO and so on, will have a kind of data warehouse, their own database. That's their data warehouse, where they will store all this kind of information. And we can always get all this kind of information from this warehouse with using language like SQL, structured query language. So we have talked about relational database. Now, what of non-relational database? A non-relational database or NoSQL stores data in formats like documents, key value pairs, graphs, or wide columns without fixed schemas. When we are talking of schemas, we are still talking of tables. So schemas is table. For example, database is just a collection of schemas, and schemas is a collection of tables. All right. So schemas, I don't know, and tables, they are more or less related. When you are talking of schemas, you're actually talking of tables, not in all sense, but actually, you are still talking of tables when you are talking of schemas. That is why you see when we were doing the project last week, what do we need to first do? We need to first click on the schema. It is by clicking on the schema we'll be able to access the data because it is in form of, it is a table. So once again, a non-relational database or NoSQL stores data in formats like documents, key value pairs, graphs, or wide columns without fixed schema. That is, there is no fixed table for a non-relational database. Now, example of non-relational database, I mean examples of, yes, examples. You have MongoDB, you have Redis, you have Cassandra, okay? These are examples of, what are they calling it? Language for non-relational database anyway. So now key features. What are the key features of non-relational database? You have flexible schema. Unlike relational database that you have fixed schemas. In non-relational database, there is flexible schema. That is, you can bring in different schema, different tables, different formats, Now, handles unstructured or semi-structured data. You see, in relational database handles structured data. You will see part of the key features of relational database is what? Structured data. You can see it here. You see, structured data is part of the key features of relational database. A relational database stores data in tables using the structured query language, all right? But non-relational database, you don't have a structured data. So you have you have unstructured or semi-structured data. Now, the key features of non-relational database, once again, flexible schema, handles unstructured or semi-structured data, then scales easily for large data sets. So it is you can easily, you can walk through a non-relational database when you have a very, very large data set. You can walk through it easily. So that is just what that is saying. So quickly, let's also talk about the data structure because these are the major highlights of Module 1 and Module 2. They still talked about larger structure, but we can data structure, but we cannot be watching the video. Now, what is data structure? A data structure is a way of organizing and storing data so it can be accessed and used efficiently. Now, we talk about database. So, and we say that a database is a collection of well-organized data. Yes, it is a collection of well-organized data, but what makes the data to be organized is what we call data structure. There is a particular way to be able to do that. Now, types of data structure, because we have 10 minutes more, since it is time for 45 minutes or thereabouts, but I think those are the major highlights. Types of data structure, you have linear data structure, all right? Data is arranged in sequence. Examples, array, fixed size collection of similar data type, linked list, e.g. elements connected using pointers. You have stack, last in, first out. Then you have queue, first in, first out. Those are examples of linear data structure. And also, we have non-linear data structure. Data is arranged hierarchically or in a network. Examples of nonlinear data structure, you have data arranged in form of tree, e.g. binary tree, and in form of graph. And three, you have hash-based structure. Hash table. That's an example of hash-based structure. Stores key value pairs for fast lookup. Now, why data structure matter? Now, data structure is important to improve performance for efficient data management and also for essential for problem solving in programming. So data is arranged in a database basically in a well organized format. And data can be well organized by making use of the data structure. For example, by pairing data of the same type, depending on the type together, and so on and so forth. So those are the ways data can be organized. So, and the last takeaway before we take one or two, before one or two people talk, is that the most important thing here is we are supposed to create a database and table using GUI, but we won't do that today. Reason is that I don't have, compared to the question we were given, the MD water service, if we remember, the table has been created via the zip file projects of the Imagine Dogo project, right? So this one, we are the one that want to create data by ourselves. So that one, I don't have that in hand for now. So this particular 2.8 is talking about how to create tables and how to put data there. So we need to get our data first. So we're still going to talk about 2.8. Please let us remind ourselves about 2.8. So for now, we won't be able to do that. So that is all I have to say for today. So please, I want us to react. What do we gain? So tomorrow we'll talk about module 3. I think module 3 is enough for tomorrow. Yeah, we'll talk about module 3 all through tomorrow. So let us react. So anybody that wants to talk before we are log out? Hello? Hello? Do you have anyone that wants to say one or two things? Hello? We have 6 minutes more. Do we have anybody that wants to say one or two things?
Hello. Hello.
Hello? Please, maybe you should increase your volume.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but it is still not increased.
Okay.
All right.
Meanwhile, I think everyone is right now. It's just quiet. Now, for me, on my side, I would just like to thank you for taking us through. For now.
All right. Thanks, sir. All right. We again want to react. We still have like 5 minutes. Let's react. Let's react. Let's react. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Hello.
Hi, I also don't have anything to add, but I also just wanted to thank you for taking the time to take us through the modules.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Thank you. So we again want to react, or if we don't really want to react, there is no problem. But I just feel it's good so that we'll be in touch with what we are doing. All right. Thank you, Precious Mwadike. All right. So I guess since no one is saying anything again, we can actually stop like that. So I believe that module 1 and 2, it can take you almost 2 hours to read. And I can tell you that it is all the essentials of that module. We just finished under 15 minutes, apart from the installation of the MySQL. So those are the essentials that we have done, and that is what we'll be doing. So I want a kind of recording that won't last more than maximally 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and that will contain everything we need to know. That's what I believe. So that way we'll be able to always look at it and always follow through. So that's just what I believe. So with this, I believe we should call it a quit for today. So I am looking for somebody to second, if you believe so.
Hello,
Hello,
good evening.
good evening.
Please, I'm just joining. What have you people done, please?
We are
Oh,
even we
do you
are
want to end
finished.
the meeting?
What?
Do you want to end the meeting?
Yes, yes. But the recording is there. You can always get the recording. We'll also meet tomorrow.
Okay, okay.
Okay, no problem.
All right. It's just 15 minutes or thereabout. So you can really go through it. I can assure you it's not something that will take your time. Because I believe at the end of the day, what's important in this thing we are doing is to understand it. It's not even the score. Eh? To get a job, we need to actually understand it. So let's endeavor. I'm trying my best to understand it. That's why I'm doing all these things. I'm not necessarily doing it because of anybody, if you want to see it that way. So I believe by trying to do this today, I have gained one or two things. So, and I believe we have even gained one or two things. So with that, I say good night. We can talk in the group chat if we want to, and if we want to go and sleep, also there is no problem. So God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so when are we starting?
Tomorrow it is going to
Are you there?
be around this time tomorrow also. Yes, 8:45 tomorrow.
Okay, okay.
8:45
All right.
Nigerian time. Yes. Yes.
Yes, I
So,
think this Zoom set will be better too.
sir?
I said this Zoom is better than the WhatsApp group. This thing that we are doing.
Yes.
Sorry, please. I have something to say.
All right.
Yes, please. What of the previous project that we did
We are
on?
coming to that. Trust me. I know what you are saying. We are coming to that. Why I started with this is because that is what we are doing presently. Okay. It will really,
Okay.
really be good to actually start with that. This is what we are doing presently. So that way we'll be in
Hmm.
tune with what we are doing. So I
All
can
right. All
assure
right.
you we are
Thank.
still going to do all those
All right.
ones back.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, mams. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Please. Is this more? Is this project?
All
Is
right.
I saw somebody was saying that it's going to end on June 30th. Abi, that's what we are saying.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. So that's the anaconda, and we have other things to do before then.
Yes, yes,
All right.
yes. All right.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.